from that and view themselves as being subordinate, which is a sort of a self-sabotaging behavior. All right? But this syndrome is also related to what we normally would call being the best Negro. Always trying to do too much. Always trying to please their superior. All right? Always working for the approval of others. You know, it is time that we check ourselves, we observe ourselves, and we start moving towards developing ourselves and having a sense of value where we could be on equal footing with all other human beings of all other races who stand squarely on their feet and represent the interests of their people as well as themselves. Now, education, right, will or should dictate the track that we must take in order to qualify ourselves to be on equal footing with others. Why not prepare a track for yourself in the process of taking control of your future? All right? We must educate our people in order to be able to prepare our people for the challenges that would ensure our survival. Now, linked to the Stockholm Syndrome is also something that is referred to as post-traumatic slave syndrome. All right? Which in essence is multi-generational trauma. Because of the 300 years history of slavery and the 300 years of trauma that our ancestors went through. Now, what we don't know and we should be aware of is that the trauma has had a residual effect on all the generations that came after slavery. All right? The residual effects are both mental and emotional because of the abuse and the trauma that our ancestors went through. Because firstly, they were captured. Our ancestors were captured. And sadly, a lot of the people who captured us and sold us before we were shipped were people like ourselves. When they captured us, we were beaten and shipped. And then when we got off the ship, we were sold, beaten again. Our women were raped. Men were raped also. And a lot of experiments took place on our ancestors. So because of the residual effect, which is mental and emotional, what our people has done because of the trauma, we have adjusted our behavior into what is called survival mode. And these type of adaptive behavior has been transmitted from one generation to the other, and it has become a social behavior, which is absolutely unhealthy. Now, the issue of denigrating ourselves and denigrating our people, back on the plantation, these form of denigrations were in most instances used to protect our children in the form of what is called appropriate adaptation. And I would give an example. If a mother had a child and the child was showing exceptional abilities, the child was very skillful, very bright, what the mother would do is the mother, in order to protect the child from being taken by the master and sold for a higher price to another plantation, she would always denigrate the child, deny the child's ability so that it would not be highlighted, so that the master could know the true ability of the child. This practice has become a social practice among all of our people. So a person would have a child, and to protect the child, which they have inherited as a social behavior, they would try to always give the child a very low rating, tend to underestimate the child only as a mechanism